On August 15, 2005, a strange anomaly appeared on naval sonar systems off the Florida coast. What should have been routine tracking data turned into an international enigma. Lieutenant Commander Richard Morgan was the first to notice it, a faint but pulsing blip, 10 miles east of Key West. The location? A trench no one dared explore. Its magnetic interference rendered most instruments useless. But this time, they worked perfectly. And the signal didn't behave like anything terrestrial. "It's big," Richard reported, eyes locked on the pulsing dot. "Too big to be one of ours." Admiral Fletcher leaned in, skepticism giving way to concern. No known Russian or Chinese vessel matched the signature. It wasn't moving. It wasn't drifting. It was just there. Resting. Like it was waiting. Richard noted something else. Faint but detectable energy readings. The kind you'd expect from a powered-down engine, or a sleeping machine. By August 17th, a Black Ops team was en route. The mission was kept quiet. No one outside select circles knew the truth. Commander Abigail Winters led the operation. A veteran of odd maritime events, she had handled everything from rogue submarines to unexplained deep-sea sonic events. But nothing prepared her for what lay beneath the calm waters of the trench. The ocean, usually choppy in that region, was perfectly still. Flat like a mirror. "It's like something's damping the water," her sonar tech remarked. Even stranger, their equipment, normally disrupted by the trench's magnetic field, functioned flawlessly. Almost as if the anomaly welcomed them. They deployed the most advanced underwater drone in the Navy's arsenal. A prototype designed for 1,500-foot descents. As it plunged into the dark blue, the feed flickered once. Then steadied. At 900 feet it appeared. A massive triangle, ancient and metallic, nestled silently in the dark. Covered in marine life, yet gleaming with unnatural symmetry. It wasn't a shipwreck. It wasn't debris. It was something else. Something not of this world. Commander Abigail Winters stared at the feed in stunned silence. The triangular shape was unmistakably artificial, yet its design was unlike any human engineering. No bolts, no seams, just a smooth, angular symmetry cloaked in algae and time. Sonar imaging placed its dimensions at over 300 feet across, resting flat at the bottom of the trench like a sleeping giant. "That's not one of ours," her sonar technician, Marcus Sandoval, murmured. "And it's not Russian. Or Chinese. Or anything I've seen before." They weren't alone in their thoughts. Every person on the team, from the technicians to the divers, shared the same unspoken conclusion. This thing didn't come from Earth. Abigail broke the silence. "Get Washington on the line. Now. And secure the video feed." Within hours, the site was surrounded by Navy vessels under the guise of a joint training operation. Drones scanned the perimeter. Submarines circled silently. The president was briefed. A new team was assembled, Project Deep Blue, bringing together military minds and top scientists from across the country. Among them was Dr. William Harrison, a 65-year-old marine archaeologist whose knowledge of ancient structures and undersea phenomena was unmatched. He watched the footage with a furrowed brow and quiet awe. "It was designed to move," he said, almost to himself. "Not drift. Not sink. It was meant to travel through water, or something denser." Next arrived Dr. Sophia Rodriguez, astrobiologist from NASA, and Rear Admiral James Cooper, who would oversee containment. The message was clear: no leaks. The press would believe it was a deep-sea mineral survey. But what truly baffled the team wasn't the ship's shape, its impossible material, or its presence in a trench no one dared to map. It was the dolphins. They began arriving in pods, circling the site in patterns that seemed deliberate, too deliberate. Their echolocation formed rhythmic pulses. Their movements were synchronized. And every day more arrived. Not to play. Not to feed. To protect. Or perhaps, to wait. Dr. Layla Jackson, a marine mammal expert from NOAA, was brought in after reports of the unusual dolphin activity reached command. She had studied cetaceans for over 20 years, yet nothing in her experience explained what she saw. "They're forming perimeter patterns," she said during the initial debrief. "Synchronized movements. Repeated patrols. Almost like sentries." The dolphins weren't just lingering near the anomaly, they were guarding it. Sofia Rodriguez was equally unsettled. "It's like they know it's not supposed to be disturbed." "But why? And how would they know that?" Meanwhile, in Seattle, a professor named Michael Cooper received an encrypted message on his phone. It was from an old college friend, now working at the Pentagon. "They found something in the Atlantic. Something big. Check your email." Michael's hands shook as he opened the classified attachment. His expertise in deep-sea magnetism had put him on the shortlist. But for him, this wasn't just academic. 30 years earlier, his father, Captain Thomas Cooper, vanished in that very region aboard the research vessel Horizon. Official records cited sudden storm activity. No wreckage was found. Michael never believed the story. Now he had a reason not to. He boarded a military transport the next morning. By the time he arrived at the Poseidon site, an entire floating research platform had been erected above the anomaly. Security was airtight. Admiral James Cooper met him at the ramp. "Dr. Cooper, thank you for coming on such short notice." Michael nodded, his gaze shifting to the screen showing sonar outlines of the triangular object. "You think this has something to do with the Horizon?" "We believe whatever's down there has been affecting this region for decades," Cooper replied. "The anomalies your father investigated. They match what we're seeing now." Michael's breath caught. His life's obsession, his unanswered question, was no longer speculation. He was standing above the answer. Michael Cooper was taken to the platform's central command hub, where a team of researchers and military staff worked around the clock. Screens displayed real-time data streams, magnetic flux readings, sonar imagery, and increasingly detailed scans of the anomaly. As he studied the patterns, something caught his attention. "These pulses, they're repeating. Every 108 minutes exactly. That's not natural. That's a cycle." Sofia leaned in. "What kind of cycle?" "A power signature. Or a signal. It's weak, but it's consistent. And during each pulse, the magnetic field around the object weakens slightly, just enough for our scans to penetrate a bit further." "Which means," Sofia said, "we've got a window." Michael nodded. "But we're going to need better equipment. Closer proximity. Real-time feedback." Admiral Cooper crossed his arms. "You're suggesting a manned mission." "I'm suggesting that if we want real answers, someone needs to go down there." Tensions rose immediately. Military advisors warned of the risks: unknown radiation, pressure anomalies, possible structural collapse. But the scientific team, led by Michael and William Harrison, argued for direct exploration. The data was simply too extraordinary to ignore. Eventually, a compromise was reached. A single submersible, custom-fitted with magnetic shielding and experimental sensors, would descend to within 100 feet of the object. No direct contact. Pure observation. They named the craft Venture. Preparations began immediately. Michael was selected to lead the scientific component, joined by Pilot Lieutenant Olivia Blackwood and Dr. Harrison for archaeological assessment. As the mission approached, dolphin activity intensified. Dozens more arrived, swimming in tight, purposeful formations. "They're responding to something," Layla whispered. "Something's changed." Sofia studied their vocalizations. "They're communicating. With each other. With us. Possibly, with the ship." Admiral Cooper looked uneasy. "Are you telling me the dolphins know what that thing is?" "No," Sofia replied. "I'm telling you, they might have always known." The night before the descent, Michael stood alone on the observation deck. The ocean stretched silently before him, calm and unnaturally still. Below, at 900 feet, lay the mystery that had consumed his life since childhood. He thought of his father. Of the years lost. Of the silence left behind. Sophia approached quietly. Nervous? Terrified, Michael admitted. But I have to know. If there's even a chance my father saw this, that he encountered it, then we have to find out what he found, she finished. I get it. She hesitated before continuing. There's something I haven't told the others. I ran a comparative analysis on the metal from the scans. The closest match in our database isn't a known Earth material. It's a theoretical composite designed for interstellar travel, something NASA proposed but never built. Michael turned to her, eyes wide. So it's not just ancient. It's alien. Sophia nodded. It's a spacecraft, Michael. It didn't crash. It landed. And it's been waiting. The next morning, the venture was prepped for launch. The sleek, reinforced submersible shimmered in the sunlight, outfitted with every sensor and backup known to modern science. Its mission: approach the object, gather data, return safely. Descent began at 0700 hours. Olivia Blackwood kept the controls steady, her voice calm despite the increasing tension. Passing 400 feet. Magnetic interference increasing, but systems are stable. Michael monitored the data, eyes glued to the patterns. Field strength fluctuating with expected pulses. Everything's matching the models so far. Dr. Harrison sat near the viewport, wide-eyed. Just think, we might be the first humans to see something built by an alien intelligence. Something older than our civilizations. At 900 feet, the water changed. The visibility increased, unnaturally so. A blue glow began to pulse from the trench walls, growing stronger as they approached the triangular structure. And then the dolphins arrived. Dozens of them, forming a tight ring around the sub. The dolphins didn't just appear, they moved with intent. A large male with a scarred dorsal fin swam directly to the front viewport of the venture, locking eyes with the crew inside. There was intelligence there. Awareness. A purpose they could all feel but not yet explain. They're communicating, Michael said softly. With us. With something else. As the dolphins surrounded the sub, they began guiding it. Not aggressively, gently. They swam in perfect formation, nudging the sub closer to the triangle resting below. No one gave the command, but Olivia eased the controls forward, following the pod's lead. They want us to see something, Harrison whispered. As they neared the ship, new details came into view. The hull wasn't just metallic, it was covered in patterns of organic growth that seemed too ordered to be random. Coral and algae arranged in lines and curves, revealing the faint shapes of symbols beneath. Symbols that shimmered faintly as the sub's lights passed over them. Suddenly, a wave of energy pulsed from the object. Systems flickered. Lights dimmed, then surged back. The circular openings they had previously noted began to glow with a soft amber hue. It's activating, Michael breathed. Sonar's picking up movement, Olivia added. Inside the triangle. Something's coming out. From one of the larger circular openings, a smaller craft emerged. It was a perfect miniature of the larger triangle, around 30 feet wide, moving with impossible precision through the water. It's a scout vessel, Harrison said. A shuttle. It's responding to us. The dolphins parted, allowing the smaller craft to approach the sub. It hovered directly in front of them, lights pulsing in sequence. Then it emitted a series of electromagnetic bursts, pulses, layered and complex. Michael stared at the readings. It's not just scanning us. It's speaking. As if on cue, the dolphins responded, emitting ultrasonic clicks and whistles. Their patterns aligned with the scout's pulses, creating a feedback loop. They're translating, Harrison murmured. The dolphins, they're the intermediaries. For several minutes, the exchange continued. The scout craft pulsed in waves of electromagnetic patterns. The dolphins responded in synchronized sequences of high-frequency clicks and whistles. And all the while, the humans could only watch, awed, silent witnesses to a dialogue they could barely comprehend. They've done this before, Michael said, almost in disbelief. The dolphins aren't improvising. They know the language, or at least the protocol. The scout craft shifted slightly, then extended a mechanical arm, sleek, jointed, and ending in a docking ring that aligned precisely with the Venture's research bay. The docking sequence initiated on its own. It wants to connect, Michael realized. It's inviting us. No way, Olivia said quickly. That's insane. We have no idea what's inside that thing, or what'll happen if we dock. Michael's voice dropped, low and steady. I think this is the moment my father experienced. This is what he saw. This is what took the horizon. That's not exactly reassuring, Olivia shot back. But the decision was already forming. Michael had waited 30 years for this. And now the answer, whatever it was, lay just beyond the sealed tube connecting their sub to the alien scout craft. They ran every environmental test they could. The atmosphere inside the connecting tunnel was breathable. Oxygen-rich. The pressure levels matched Earth's sea level norm almost exactly. They've prepared this for us, Harrison whispered. Or for someone like us. Michael suited up first in a lightweight diving suit. Just in case. Harrison followed behind. I've spent a lifetime studying wrecks, he said with a determined smile. But this is something else entirely. They entered the tube. The air was clean, cool, and still. The walls of the tunnel pulsed with soft light, like the ship itself was alive. At the far end stood a sealed airlock, alien but oddly intuitive. Harrison studied the panel, hesitated, and then pressed the symbol. With a gentle hiss, the door opened. And they stepped into a world no human had ever seen. As Michael and his father stood side by side, reunited across decades, time, and species, they watched as the alien called Valian raised its elongated hand in peace. Around them, dolphins leapt in perfect arcs through glimmering blue water. Triangular ships dotted the horizon, each one rising from long-hidden trenches, revealing themselves after millennia of silence. The world had changed in an instant. Humanity was no longer alone. But this wasn't an invasion. It wasn't conquest. It was an invitation. A long-awaited moment of contact. Of trust. Of partnership. Captain Thomas Cooper had survived because the Valians valued life. They had kept him in stasis until they could bridge the vast cognitive gap between species. They didn't just want to reveal themselves. They wanted to connect. To share. To collaborate. Now, Earth stood at the edge of its next great chapter. Not a war, but a union. Not fear, but understanding. The United Nations would soon host its first interspecies summit. Valians. Humans. Dolphins. Together. A coalition not just of civilizations, but of ideals. And leading the charge? A son and father reunited, scientists, explorers, and now, ambassadors to a new age. The question isn't whether we're alone in the universe. The question is, are we ready to grow up? Are we ready to join the stars? This was never just a ship. It was a test. And after millennia of watching, the Valians have decided. Humanity passed.